and he loved watching them taking timid baby steps towards where they thought the bedroom door was. Eloquent Ursula on Reddit writes, "She drifted out of a pleasant dream and felt mildly surprised the room was so dark. Then suddenly hit her. It was so dark because her eyes were still closed. She was wide awake, but she couldn't open her eyes. A bolt of fear hit her so hard she actually cried out and shook her body. She rubbed her eyes. Nothing felt unusual or different. She just physically could not open her eyelids. A few minutes passed while she lay back, completely still. As the immediate terror subsided, she thought back to the night and the day before. Nothing in her fairly routine, drab life had changed. What terrible, sudden illness was this? She knew she was in her own bed. She could feel her own blanket and pillow. She tried again and again to open her eyes, but she couldn't. And the strain was starting to hurt her tiny little muscles around her eyeballs. She needed help. Where was her cell phone? She groped towards the nightstand and spilled a glass of water. She found her cell phone sopping wet, fumbling with a smooth, wet screen. She gave up in despair very soon, realizing she could not turn it on. If she wanted help, she needed to leave the bedroom, go downstairs and leave her apartment, sightless. The man silently sitting in her bedroom chair, watching her every movement, smiled. He could never decide if the initial awakening was the best, or the moment where they shakily stood up and tried to head towards the door of the bedroom. It was hilarious how clueless and clumsy they always were, and he loved watching them taking timid baby steps towards where they thought the bedroom door was, stumbling and flailing around, often hurting themselves in the process. But that sweet scent of fear which filled the bedroom for the first moments after they woke up was unrivaled in the sheer delight it gave him. Once, he had made his presence known by an involuntary fit of coughing. The terrified shrieking and mayhem which had ensued had been enough to convince him that if he wanted to enjoy the spectacle to its fullest, he needed to remain utterly silent. Another time, he had been unable to resist temptation, and he had given his victim a short, sharp push as she finally made her way to the top of the stairs. He was actually toying with the idea of doing the same to this one. She looked so beautiful and terrified as she took those tiny, nervous steps. Her arms outstretched and reaching, clutching at bits on the way. It was almost a pity to let her go. Ah well. He would see how he felt about it once she reached the stairs.